Good evening, colleagues, and welcome to our principals, vice principals, senior teachers, and middle managers of both the secondary and primary levels of our systems. My name is Patricia Pitt, principal of San Fernando East Secondary School, which is located in South Trinidad. This evening, I will be one of your hosts for this cutting edge session, during which we begin our CAPS in Focus series as a lead up to our virtual conference, which will take place from the 26th to the 31st of July, 2021. Our Thoughtful Thursday webinars, hosted by our tech support team of RSC, Restore a Sense of ICANN, have served to introduce and emphasize the possibilities of a united Caribbean to bring about real change in our region's education system. It has also shown the potential for capacity building, expertise sharing, and professional growth and development beyond the spaces in which we reside, as we have had the opportunity to learn from and interact with our colleagues. Tonight's presentations will add to that exciting feature of our association, as we are introduced to not only our virtual platform, the space within which our conference will occur, but also hear from our president as she shares the vision of the value-adding capability of educational conferences. I am very pleased to be working along with my counterpart from the beautifully scenic Grenada, Samantha Antoine Purcell, who will now introduce herself and our CAPS Connect feature. Samantha?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Pat. I am Samantha Antoine Purcell, the founding collaborator and principal of the St. George's Institute, a brand new secondary school right here in Grenada. I've been in this profession for almost 20 years, both in the public and private secondary schools. I'm also an executive member of the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, GAPS. With a passion for education and educational reform, I am delighted to be working with Patricia tonight as we moderate this evening's Thoughtful Thursday session. And we are equally delighted that so many of you have joined us so far, being mindful that today is a public holiday in many of our countries. At this time, as we usually do, we will head to our breakout rooms. And here we will get a chance to discuss and meet and examine our selected question for tonight's presentation. Let's use this opportunity to share ideas and experiences with our Caribbean colleagues in education. Our question for tonight's breakout session is, what value do you expect to extract from attending an educational conference such as CAPS? Again, what value do you expect to extract from attending an educational conference such as CAPS? We have numerous opportunities to engage in professional development in a variety of ways, but we wish to pause to examine what this fraternity can offer. Our technical team will now place us in breakout rooms for the next 10 minutes or so. So let's get interactive and conversate.
Samantha, we're just giving persons a few seconds to get back into the main room.
Right, and we'll be right back.
and we will be here, yes. So let me just share as they're coming in.
Right.
What happened in our breakout room. We had a mix of persons from Trinidad and Tobago, from Belize, from Anguilla, and everyone spoke positively about what they expected in terms of the collaboration, in terms of the sharing, in terms of the professional development, the friendships that they're expecting to have at the end of it all, and the best practices. One of the things that I liked was the fact that people talked about the conference as being an opportunity to be motivated, so that when they go back out there again for the next year that we have, the next academic year, they're going to be ready and moving, and they're able to do what they need to do in the best way that they can. So that was an excellent sharing in room 6. Thank you very much, all the persons who were there. Samantha, what about by you?
Yes, I particularly like what you just said about it being the picker-upper, I guess, for the next year forward.
Yes.
It's about not worrying too much about what has transpired this year, what we're still experiencing about going forward, though. So that's great that the motivation is going to come out of that.
Yes.
With us, we had some persons sharing from Grenada, from the Bahamas, as well as from Trinidad and Tobago. And we had a mixed group because we had persons who had not been to a CAPS conference before, a few of those, and we've had persons who've been to CAPS conferences.
Yes.
So the expectations included hearing about the innovative practices from other countries in the region, what they're doing, as well as sharing what they have been doing with them, seeing what the challenges were across the region and how they've been overcome. And one that struck me a lot had to do with hearing the sharing from each other, culturally relevant sharing and contextual.
Culturally relevant, yes. So our group also mentioned that the whole cultural experience that they're expecting to have, yes.
Right. And not just
one of the things you mentioned was the care for the principal, the health and wellness of the principal, which I found was also significant.
That's great.
Yes.
Somebody mentioned not just going to the typical conference where you're hearing from, for lack of a better word, outsiders of persons far from the Caribbean coming to give educational solutions, but hearing from their colleagues across the region. So that was a big one in our group as well.
Yes.
Great sharing, actually.
Great sharing, yes.
All right, so with that, we can then head now to the next segment of tonight's Thoughtful Thursday segment. And we're now headed to the presidential thought. At this segment, we make room for Mrs. Shera Carrington James. Mrs. Carrington James has been in administration since 2009 and has been the principal of the Goodwood Secondary School since 2015. Mrs. Carrington James is an advocate of professional development. As such, she has employed several avenues to this end, including courses in leadership with emotional intelligence at UWI and Arthur Locke Jack School of Business, leadership training from the Delaware Academy of School Leadership, and ASCD's leadership conferences in both Las Vegas and Atlanta. She has also attended CAPS conferences since 2009 in St. Lucia to 2019 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Here to share from her plethora of experiences is the president of both APS, TNT, and CAPS. Let's welcome Mrs. Carrington James.
Thank you very much, and good night to you all, colleagues. Thanks, Samantha. This evening, I am not doing the typical video presentation and reaching out to you. I'm having a conversation this evening. And I'm heartened because I am going to talk to you about history. I'm going to talk to you about experience. I'm going to talk to you about opportunity, about responsiveness. I'm going to talk to you about CAPS. And I was in the breakout room a little while ago, and I just need to just do a little reach out. I know I have my little 3 minutes to do all of this, but I want to welcome Guyana, because I reached out to a colleague and I was in a breakout room with a lady from Guyana. I want to say shout out to Guyana. Welcome back to the fold. So here we go. I would need now to really just talk CAPS. So let's see what, I have a little PowerPoint presentation, and let's see what CAPS looks like in terms of this conversation that I want to have with you tonight. So Caribbean Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, CAPS, established since 1955. We have particular objectives. One I'm going to share this evening is to be an organization to inspire, and that came out in the feedback, and improve and engage in professional development of principals so that we achieve that common educational goal for all the advancement of education in each of our territories in the Caribbean. And that is an objective that we embrace and that we would intend to carry forward across the Caribbean. I want to say to you that this happens in a particular context. So in that context, we would find the global knowledge explosion. We'd have that exponential increase in science and internet, the World Wide Web, technology, math, all of that, and the possibility of travel. Of course, this is pre-COVID-19, right? You'd recognize that. All of that would have happened prior to that. That is our CAPS experience, that's our CAPS objectives, that's all the imperatives that will therefore be embedded in that particular context, would have been driven by technology. Technology has compressed space and nullified distance for us. It has synchronized the time. Somebody's in Belize 2 hours away from mine, but we're synchronized because we all are on a thoughtful Thursday together. Coming out of that are the imperatives of expectations of the principalship that is very high. Accountability is extensive. It's being demanded of us, and we are under tremendous scrutiny at this time. However, regardless of how high that scrutiny is, it is buried in a quagmire of issues. And I don't want us to gloss over in our trek to CAPS 2021, the reality of what history was for us. Climate change that's still impacting us. We know of the disaster that has embraced our colleagues in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We've all banded together and we've sent relief aid for them. We know of the issues as well that are engulfed in students, parenting, the leadership and governance and management of our schools, and of course the apathy of students, issue number 4. Inclusivity, equity, funding and procurement. And right at this stage, I could tell you to choose. Would you choose hunger? Would you choose domestic violence against women? Would you choose that gender fluidity? All those are issues that have embraced us as we attend our CAPS conference. But now we have an opportunity, regardless of our objectives, regardless of the imperatives and the issues, we now have an opportunity to holistically support principals in the anticipation of a demand for the response. We have an opportunity to chart a course for students. We have an opportunity to be the vehicle for transformation. And I want to talk about that last opportunity that I think is on the slide there, to be at the forefront of addressing fundamental issues in education on our journey to that ideal Caribbean child. So why CAPS conference? CAPS conference for us for the last 60 years, I don't know how many of you knew that, has been a strategy, an initiative, a platform where we share, where we embrace, where we bring principals and educational leaders, partners together to dialogue and interrogate and action issues that impact our students. At the end of the day, this is our opportunity to chart a way forward for our children across the union, across the region. And that's what CAPS conference has been for us. So I'm sharing in terms of who CAPS is, a little bit of history, our objectives, the imperatives, the issues, and now the context. What is the rationale for this whole CAPS conference business? What do we get out of it? And you'd have shared in the breakout rooms. Content, not so? And I want to go back to my first CAPS conference, 2009. And I remember in that conference vividly, Didicus Jules, now Secretary General, I think it is, of the OECS. And in 2009, I tell you one of the things that resonates with me, I don't know how many years later, China is the largest English-speaking country. Facebook, as the 8th most populated country in the world, extends over space that is larger than the largest populated nation. Crisis is too good an opportunity to waste. Education for what was the question asked of us in 2009. Rather, it was answered as well, education for whatever life throws at you. And that came from Didicus Jules in my first CAPS conference, and it has stayed with me all this time. Coming out of that 2005 conference, resolution that was tabled in Trinidad and Tobago, the Cascadia Hotel. Don't try and date my age. I know you're all doing some math inside of there. Anyway, 2005, CAPS conference, Cascadia, here's what was said. Whereas the world is our classroom, and whereas the infusion of ICT is critical to the effective education system, be it resolved that all regional governments be encouraged to modernize their education systems as to prepare students for the demands of the technological age. That was actually tabled by Clement Ratcliffe out of Jamaica. Guys, think about it. By Dominica, 2013, I'm still talking content here. We anticipate a crisis as teachers in Barbados begin to rumble about the right to be paid to mark CXC examinations. Anybody remembers that? That component is classified as an examination component, and they request that they be paid. That was proactively discussed by Vere Paris out of Barbados. These are some of the things that are raised in the content of CAPS, the resolution passed. Why are we doing CAPS? Community. I can't speak enough about community because you speak about it in every Thoughtful Thursday presentation. Coming out of CAPS, we also focus on the socialization, the social network potential. And I don't want to tell you all my business, but I could tell you some of it. I remember my conference in 2009, and Sister Clara out of Belize made me an honorary Belizean. People don't know that. She said to me, Shara, you have beautiful eyes. Your eyes are so pretty. They are true. They are honest. And I said, really? And Sister kept a seat for me every day at CAPS conference in the front so I could see what's going on, because my glasses, story. So at the end of the day, there was a community and a socialization that was building between myself and the Belizean community, between myself and the Jamaican community and the St. Lucian community as well. And I want to say thanks for that. Why are we attending CAPS? I'm sharing a little again. And inside of that sharing comes the ambience and the environment in which this particular conference is going to happen. So we're going again. Images of the content. In St. Lucia, way back in 2009 and long ago, we used to have those kind of cameras that give you the date on the end of the picture there. So there you see the entire head of delegation engaging. In the middle, you see Belize. We toured from central capital of Belize way down, so that we could have experienced in, I guess, the Anglophone Caribbean. We saw some of our Amerindian heritage brothers and sisters, the conditions under which they live. That's the middle in Belize. And somewhere back over there in St. Lucia, we see some recipients, and some of you who are as young as I am would therefore be able to identify some of these gentlemen out of Barbados and St. Lucia in that frame. We're going again, content, country, community, socialization. That is headed Belize, but you see there our head of delegation back in 2013 holding up a Trinidad and Tobago flag, and we actually cascaded the entire staircase. That was community. We socialized and appreciated the environment in St. Lucia, 2009. I wouldn't tell you about what the pot is going on there by the side of the road on our way to Sunset Grand in St. Anne. In Jamaica, Trinidadians are stopping to get their corn soup. But guys, that was our experience. That's what we lived. That's the history I'm sharing with you tonight. But that was a physical space, and we have the greatest opportunity now to go virtual, to blaze the trail, leadership validation, seamless transition from that enriching experience to an experience now that we would have engaged in from July 2020. It demonstrates our agility as an organization, our ability as regional leaders to leverage this opportunity and to engage in all the social enterprise that we possibly can. In this virtual environment, I want to tell you, the June tune 2021, the tune for June will be the 4 Ps of CAPS. So we're talking platform, program, party, and PD, all of which in the most stimulating of regional virtual environments. This affords us an opportunity to design the user experience, seamlessly maintain the CAPS brand to ensure that there's healthy conversation and conversion, of our rate of optimization of principals visiting, registering, and following through to attend CAPS. So that's our CRO. And that is the purpose of Thoughtful Thursday. And that is why I'm here to say thanks to you. Thanks to the team of the Trinbago host base and to you, the Thoughtful Thursday participants, because it is from you we are getting that feedback that would ensure that the experience that we give you, that you engage in, that you as a member of CAPS can indeed have, is real and authentic. Amazon always says data trumps any amount of intuition. And we have been engaged in examining the feedback forms that you give us every Thursday. I want to say thanks, because from it, we can therefore have that history transferred into a virtual environment. Program, platform, the party, I kind of try to put it as small as possible on the slide that just went there. So it's as small as possible. And of course, our professional development. We are CAPS. St. Lucia, Turks, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, Belize, Anguilla, Barbados, Bahamas, Grenada, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. And because I have internet problems, my screen is being shared from TechBase, but I want them to put in Guyana there because I'm heartened to see Guyana on board. And finally, we are CAPS. So we're going past Trinidad and Tobago now. Blazing the trail, that's what we do. We, CAPS 2021, leading an opportunity for networking, for community, for environment, for participation, bringing the history of CAPS way back 2005, when we spoke of resolutions to invest and embed ICT into our schools, into our educational process. I say to you, we're there, we're on the cusp of realizing that. And I pray that you stay with us and blaze the trail to CAPS conference, 26th to the 31st of July. I want to thank you for coming on. And I say to all of us at the end of the day, CAPS is us, CAPS is all of us. I want to see you there.
Thank you, Madam President. Listen to that passion. Listen to the profound eruditeness of the conversation that we just had with our president. CAPS is us. So let's get on board. CAPS Virtual Conference 2021 is a positive vibration that will impact our region for generations to come. Shara was speaking about things that happened since 2005, generations later, still impacting us. Its worth cannot be measured in dollars and cents. So thank you, Shara, for encouraging us to value ourselves and what we do, and for allowing us to see this as a once in a lifetime opportunity to be a part of a transformative sea change experience. Thank you for that. Now, after that exciting conversation, we introduce our moment of movement. And this evening it comes to us from Barbados, the Rhythm Tribe. This is most appropriate since this group, just like CAPS, is a collaborative collective of individuals working towards a shared vision. In this case, however, dance is their medium, led by the innovative and creative dancer and choreographer, Aisha Komisyong. Let's enjoy this moment of movement.
Hi, I'm Aisha, and today in studio I have two friends with me.
I'm Shay.
Nanny. And we are Rhythm Tribe. Now for today's session, we've been charged with the responsibility of carrying you through an easy dance fitness exercise. All you have to do is follow along. Don't get worried, don't get nervous. When in doubt, just keep moving. Are you ready? Because we are ready, right? So let's go. Yeah!
A and N. We are breaking barriers. Are you transitioning with us?
How? What do we do?
Transitioning to leadership through professional development.
Through the voice of youth.
Through technology and innovation.
Through health and wellness.
Through stakeholders and community involvement.
Through the arts and culture.
Through inclusivity and diversity.
Transitioning to the future of Caribbean education.
Join us.
And let's blaze the trail to CAPS Virtual Conference 2021. We got this. See you there.
Samantha, you're sweating.
I was so happy the little video was playing Circle Wipe. I'm smelling the sweat off my chest. Did you break a sweat?
Oh, yes, for sure.
They were excellent. They were excellent.
Yes.
All right. So now that we have had our energies, got an opportunity to move our bodies, break a sweat, oxygen flowing, and be reminded about what CAPS 2021 will mean. With Trinidad and Tobago blazing the trail, we are heading now into the second segment where we speak a little bit more about this. And we want to present now our feature presenter for tonight, who is no stranger to Thoughtful Thursday or the CAPS Collegiate Fraternity. Mr. Raj Ramdas, director of the nonprofit RSC, Restore a Sense of I Can, took up the challenge of providing technical support and advice to CAPS in 2017. So since then, he and his team have provided numerous opportunities to administrators across the Caribbean to upskill. His focus on effecting change through education and technology has never wavered. So this evening, we welcome Mr. Ramdas as he provides an introduction to the virtual space in which this year's CAPS conference will be held. Let's welcome Mr. Ramdas.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Samantha, this is unfair. You put me to speak after the workout, and you should have put Cheryl here now, put me before, right? So, and you know what? Some of you all looked at it as if it was a movie. It was not. It was part of the immersion and part of what we expect. You know, the whole inclusion thing, like how we hear on with dogs barking in the back and everything else. So I want to just quickly go on and speak to you about a virtual conference experience and what are some of the things we are planning. But before I do that, I just have one quick question. How many of you all, and I'm not speaking here in terms of you're in a Zoom call or a Zoom meeting, how many of you all actually participated in a virtual conference, something that went across different days and you experienced something in that conference, not just sit? How many of you all actually experienced a conference? I'll leave this really fast because watching time here, and oh, it's interesting numbers. We have quite a number of people in here who would have participated in virtual conferences. Yay, that's really great, right? And some of you all know actually the numbers swapping out now is more no. So let me just end the polling quickly, share the results. So what we are seeing here is like about 56% of you all said no, you've never participated in a virtual conference. And about 44% said yes. Okay, that's just to give us an idea where we're coming from. Let me just quickly share screen here and speak towards what are some of the ideas and some of the plans we're looking at here for CAPS Conference 2021. So we're speaking of a virtual conference, and definitely it is not watching a Zoom call. It's not watching a Zoom call. And if you're in an active session like the Barbados just now, you're supposed to get up and participate. It's definitely not going to be 1 week of watching a screen. Absolutely not. What we are speaking to is experiential. What we are speaking to is if you're going to be part of this conference, you're going to be part of the conference, no observers. What we're speaking about is a conference. And one of the advantages of virtual conferences is that it is almost expandable to your creativity. So within the conference, at every single point in time, we will have options. We'll have options on multiple things happening at the same time, so you can choose what you want to do and not be herded into a particular session. There'll be scheduled sessions, which means at a specific day and a specific time, there'll be things that's happening live with presenters and a whole bunch of participators you can take part in. The next part that I really love about a well-planned virtual conference is that there's going to be a whole bunch of on-demand sessions, which means you could do it when you want. You get up in the morning and do it early, you do it in the evening, you do it in the night, or more important, the platform will still exist in your device. 1 week after CAPS conference finish, you can still participate in the on-demand and the replays. What I quickly want to do is to just give you an idea of what the experience is going to be attending the conference. This is not exactly it. I'm just sharing a concept idea here. So once you enter the conference, you will have your walkways and everything else. And if you notice what you're seeing here, on the left-hand side there's a navigation button. So for people who are going to navigate the room with your phone, basically you just put your hand on that button and you could move around. I'll show you how just now. In addition to that, on the right bottom is your teleporter, which you can't do in a real conference. So once you click the teleporter, what's going to happen is it's like you're going to a mall and the map is there. And the difference is when you touch the store you want to go into, in this case, you touch the event or the booth that you want to go into, it will teleport you straight into that. So that's after you walk a few days and you get a little tired and so on. In addition to that, on the top right, this is going to be with you all the time. So anytime you want to, okay, what's happening today? What's going on? What I need to do? You just click on that eye, and based on what you registered for, you're going to see what's happening. So let's start walking in. If you're using a computer, you'll walk in using your keypad, of course, your keyboard. And once you walk in, the first thing most people will meet is your information booth. And here, this information booth will be manned on different days by different principals throughout the region, people that you know from Thoughtful Thursday and so on. And you could physically, well, not physically, you could virtually walk up to that booth and communicate. You click on it and you'll see them face to face, like if you're in a Zoom call with them, and you could communicate. All of these things you're seeing here, we're going to refer to them as booth for now, and I'll explain just what's going to happen in some of these booths or what is possible. You need to guide us in terms of what's going to happen. And as you move around, you can actually start experiencing different things. Every single one of this booth will have something that's happening at every single point in time. And if you notice, when you go to some of the booths, there'll be videos playing like this one. And if you walk into the booth, and this is the part I want you to watch, when you walk into the booth, look at what happens on your left-hand side. A menu is going to prop up. Once this menu prop up, you can click on this and be thrown into a live session. You're going to be in a Zoom room or Google Meet or whatever it might be, and you're going to a live session for something that's happening. Or you can do on-demand things. I'm not sure what the menu is going to be because it's dependent on the booth and what's happening, but you could have a whole bunch of on-demand things that you can click and do at your own time. So it's like a pretty cool concept, and then you just move around again. And once you move in, out, click, cancel, do whatever you want. That in the back, there could be a live video playing about something. I'll quickly talk about what you're seeing. There's pitch room, so you come back there, let's do a quick tour. You have your views, you have your different types of activities happening, every single one. There could be a country, could be an event, could be stuff that's happening, whatever it might be. Each one of these, different shape, different format, but once you walk into it, how you would interact with it will be very much similar. So once you keep walking around, the next thing I want to show you, let me show you something here. In this particular one, there's a movie theater where, let me run a bit, we're going a little slow on time. So just run in here quickly. And in this movie theater, once you walk into it, we can have preset movies and a whole bunch of different things that's happening here. So what it would do is allow you to click, allow you to select, and so on, right? So let me just speed up a bit and go on to the next thing. So what we are saying is you go to a booth, visit the booth, you can walk into a booth. What's happening in this booth? It can be, in this particular case, it can be a Zoom meeting, seminar, webinar, group discussions, breakout rooms, whatever it may be. Walk into the next one, It could be activities where you're having questions, forms, fill out, stuff that you're doing, not listening to somebody just talk. You could be immersed in simulations. You can go into the next one and you can do networking. Networking is a huge part of this, where you're not meeting a whole bunch of people, but you select who you want to meet and talk. It's like a little coffee shop that you could sit down in. Performances, entertainment, karaoke is something cooler we'll have. You could sing, or if you can't sing, you go karaoke. If you could sing, you do performances and entertainment. And we can have nice little karaoke sessions with groups of friends. It don't have to be all 10,000 people in a session. It's just whoever it is, gamification. We could have fun activities in groups. We could have games playing. We could have a Lyman launch. We could have virtual tours. We could have a whole bunch of stuff. Depending on your device, you could have a 2D experience like I just did with keyboard, or you could borrow your children game controller. This one is going to be cool if you could do it, because if you could use the glasses, the 3D glasses, this whole thing is going to be a fully immersed 3D experience. You could use a joystick, you could use a phone. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, you know what? And I spoke really fast, I know that, but just to give you a pinch idea of the possibilities that's going to happen. What's going to drive those possibilities will be your ideas and some of the stuff that you want to do. And I invite back here Ms. Pat and Samantha to come back in, because I'm just watching time and I know we're going to do something exciting now with them, so that they can actually tell us what to do. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Raj. And as I always tell you, Raj wows me. Every single time he has a presentation, it wows me. He exemplifies what it means to think outside of the box. I think daily, Raj and his team, they literally mash up that box and then they reconstitute the pieces so that we can see the vision that they have inside of their very elastic minds. So we thank you for bringing us into that process. Now it's your chance, colleagues, to go back into the breakout room and to look at that CAPS virtual platform, and we invite you to share with us what you would like to see on that platform. That's what you're going to do now, because this platform is not going to be just for this conference. It's going to be available as a future resource to our association, where lots of activities can take place. You can have graduations, team meetings could occur. We'll have resources archived there so that principals can access it. So please feel free as you go out into this session to share. As Raj says, have wild imagination and share what you would like to see on that virtual platform. So Raj and your team, we're just giving persons a little time to come back. And my co-host, be back in the main room. Yeah, the good sharing in room 6 again. As I told them this evening, it seems that room 6 is my space to be in. So excellent sharing again. Samantha is going to be back in a little while. So in the meantime, I could just tell you a little bit of what we spoke about in our room 6. The cultural aspect is something that people want to see happening. They also want to ensure that they have a knowledge of the program. So I told them be on next week, because that's what we're going to be focusing on. And they want to have the opportunity, just as we have provided with the breakout room, for people from various spaces to be able to meet, their various territories, to be able to have that community building taking place. And then finally, of course, the Lyme, because Lyman is a very important part, that socialization aspect, very important part of any conference that you attend. Yes, Samantha?
Yes, that line came up to it was titled Fun and Laughter Segment. So I wrote down Fun and Laughter Portal, somewhere to go to have fun, to kicks, to joke, that kind of stuff. We have some great ones coming out too. They wanted to see schools biographical data, so they wanted to see what the schools across the region were doing, some bio data, some photos, some projects, what's done over the last year. They want to see a shopping mall to be able to purchase things from different countries.
Okay, excellent, yes.
Another great one that came out, a sticky note wall where persons can leave best practices of what happened in the last year, so that stays there almost like a resource point, but anybody can add to that, a sticky note wall. What came out of culture from every country and the natural environment, so people want to see the countries virtually. A library, a resource bank where they can go to find things, material, whether it's for any topic. So a lot of that came out of all the things they love to see involved in CAPS this year.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead, Samantha. Yes.
Right. All right, so now you must be filled and overwhelmed with excitement and anticipation. Know that we're going to share on the specific plans for CAPS Conference 2021 and the extraordinary experience is going to be, for sure. So my question is, what are you waiting for? Do not let this opportunity pass you by. You need to get registered ASAP. You head to the chat box right now. The link for registration is right in the chat as we speak. So if you have not registered yet, do so tonight. Don't wait another moment. Don't get missed out on this. And then also what you'd find in the chat box is our evaluation form for this evening session. Remember, the evaluation takes just about a minute and your feedback is really invaluable to us to help us to grow and develop this Thoughtful Thursday initiative. So take the time to complete that as well. It's been great feedback over the period of time so far. It only takes about a minute. And then finally, I bid you all a safe night and weekend ahead as I invite back one more time, Pat, the lovely Pat, to offer some.
Thank you so much, Samantha. It's always a pleasure co-hosting with you. And colleagues, as we place CAPS in focus during this month, the June Tune month, leading up to our CAPS virtual conference, your feedback, as Samantha said, is invaluable. Next week, Charlene and Sonia will provide a peek into the extensive program that is being planned. And I assure you that it will only serve to heighten your anticipation of this stimulating event. Tonight, I leave you with the words from John Maxwell, who once said that everything worthwhile in life is uphill. Going uphill requires intentionality. Let us intentionally blaze the trail to CAPS Trinbago 2021, our virtual conference, where we will be breaking barriers and transitioning beyond the norm. Remember to spread the word and bring a friend. Good night, everyone.
We are breaking barriers. Are you transitioning with us?
How? What do we do?
Transitioning to leadership through professional development.
Through the voice of youth. Through technology and innovation.
Through health and wellness.
Through stakeholders and community involvement.
Through the arts and culture.
Through inclusivity and diversity.
Transitioning to the future of Caribbean education.
Join us.
And let's blaze the trail to CAPS Virtual Conference 2021. We got this. See you there.
Caribbean Association of Principals of Secondary Schools is breaking barriers and going beyond the norm, July 26th to 31st. We invite you to be a part of this pioneering virtual conference, guaranteed to renew your commitment as administrators of excellence through the sharing of ideas in innovation and technology. The ultimate Caribbean unifying experience. CAPS Virtual Conference July 2021. Creating opportunities to collaborate, define our future, and transition beyond the norm. Be a part of the journey.
CAPS Virtual Conference 2021, Blazing the Trail.